We are live streaming from the most lit hotel room in Beijing, by which I mean it's really brightly lit, because if you're trying to get decent image quality, you turn on every light in the room, and it's still not well lit enough. I still don't think you can really see my face clearly, but whatever. Slightly blurry video from a very brightly lit hotel room in Beijing, China. We're live streaming. So, look, I got some photos and some funny comments from friends of mine and frenemies of mine and complete strangers of mine in Chiang Mai, Thailand, who just showed up and attended my lawsuit, my day in court in Chiang Mai, Thailand. So these are criminal charges in Thailand that are against charming young fellow you may have heard of called Durian Rider. So I wanted to mention off the bat, the first cat to really do that was actually Angry Vegan. So there was this time not too long ago when a lot of people were saying, even though it was ridiculous and there was no reason to doubt that it was a real court case, all these people were claiming for no good reason that my court case was fake and that it wasn't really happening. Even claiming that I had hired actors to pretend to be lawyers and claiming, every legal document I ever put on the internet, including like showing my own ID, showing my own passport, people would claim was fake. And then the other side, Durian Rider would make these insane claims with no evidence. And nobody would ask for screenshots. Nobody would ask for documents. He didn't even show documents. He didn't even have to fake documents. And people would take that seriously. And I was saying stuff that was really true and had documents and evidence to back it up. Yeah. So that was ridiculous. That went on for a long, long time. But there is this cat called Angry Vegan. And Angry Vegan is a really small channel. No offense. That's the reality. I want to talk about that too. I want to talk about the philosophy of having a small channel. Remember, I mentioned that to you. Yeah. And what can you really aspire to? What's reasonable and meaningful and motivates you in your own life if you have a small channel and you're looking at the future of it always being a small channel? Because most of us, that's what it is, how many people are going to be Tana Mongeau? There's just no reason to plan your social calendar as if you're going to be the next Tana Mongeau. Maybe even Tana Mongeau is not going to be the next Tana Mongeau. It's not going to last, right? But anyway, he's a small YouTuber, and he is one of the last diehard supporters of Durian Rider. And he was kind of holding out and insinuating that this court case was fake or not real, or there was something misleading. There was some kind of scam attached to it. And I said to him, and I said to several other people in Chiang Mai at the same time too, I said, look, if you want to go to the courthouse, you can go. It's public. It's open to the public. It's like going to City Hall. It's like paying your taxes. Anybody can go. And I forget if I was talking directly to Angry Vegan or if I was talking to a friend of his who went with him, because a couple people went together. But I said to Angry Vegan and others, I said, look, if you go to the actual courthouse, the legal documents are like hanging on the wall. They've actually got these, they're basically like 3-ring binders, but it's on a wooden wall. And I remember warning them, saying, look, you got to wear a suit, you got to dress up. You can't just wear a T-shirt. You can't show up wearing your skin-tight bike shorts, fluorescent bike helmet or something. They're not going to do. Because Thai society is a formal, repressive kind of, culturally, it's like that. But, if you put on a nice shirt, you can walk in and you can ask for help, and they'll find the case for you. You can look under my name, or you can look under the date of the last day in court, but you can check this. Anyway, so Angry Vegan was one of the cats, even though he was a Durian Rider supporter, and he still is. He still supports Durian Rider, even though he knows Durian Rider has lied about all this stuff. Yeah. And he went up because I suggested this. I said, look, if you don't believe me, stop asking me to post documents on the internet and then have Durian Rider say they're fake. Because that's what happened again and again. And people, for no reason, take Durian Rider seriously. I posted my criminal record, and he's like, oh, no, that's fake. Anyone could fake that, And he would make these ridiculous claims with no screenshot, even though you can fake a screenshot. Without even a single screenshot, he would say that somebody said something on Facebook. Well, if they said it, why isn't there a screenshot? Mm-hmm. And, of course, you can fake, screenshots, that kind of thing. But nevertheless, he had no evidence on his side. So these cats, this bunch of guys, I assume they rode their bicycles. Maybe they took a cab. They put on their Sunday best, and they go up to the courthouse, and Angry Vegan gets to see there, hanging on the wall. He's totally shocked. The case is real. He sees the legal documents on the wall. And, he then goes and presents this fact to Durian Rider. Because Durian Rider is either lying about this or is in denial. Right? And for many people, it's an open question. Was he intentionally lying? And Durian Rider's reply to Angry Vegan, when Angry Vegan was just, his mind is blown, that this is a real case. He says to him, keep this quiet. Nobody has to know about it. Don't tell anyone. So you tell me, was Durian Rider intentionally lying the whole time, or was he in some kind of, psychological state of denial, or what? Was it always a ploy? Was he aware for all this time that the court case was real? Or is he slightly crazy? Or is it both? They're not, mutually exclusive situations. Look, sorry, I'm not preventing my girlfriend from speaking here, by the way. It was just naturally the nature of this topic of conversation. She doesn't have a whole hell of a lot to say about. But anyway, so lately a bunch of the cats who are in Chiang Mai went up to attend this day in court. It's my day in court in a sense. These are the criminal charges against Durian Rider, case that I'm a part of, case that I instigated, case that I'm a principal witness in, and so on. And, so Sam sent me this photo of Joe Best in the courtroom, talking to my lawyer too. So they met at least one of the lawyers. There's several lawyers in the case. I mean, there's a team of lawyers. It's not just one lawyer involved, but they met one of the lawyers and they saw the case is real and so on. And, Joe Best has been asking me lately, basically, why aren't we cool? Why am I not cool with Joe Best? So, hey, let's digress on this point. This is another topic. So we'll come back to Joe Best. But look, when you talk about guys like Joe Best and we talk about guys like Dom Bauer, those are two really good examples, right? They're small YouTubers, but everybody knows who they are. Doesn't mean they have regular viewers. Doesn't mean everybody watches them, But like everyone within the vegan scene, within the Demimonde, knows who they are. Yeah. I think if you're a small YouTuber, that's really the most you can aspire to, is that within your category, people know who you are. And, some people are going to love you and some people are going to hate you. But if you look at a guy like Dom Bauer, everyone knows who he is. Everyone within veganism, everyone cares, And that's funny because like a lot of people don't know who Gary Francione is. Gary Francione, I'm certain Gary Francione has fewer YouTube viewers than Dom Bauer. Yeah. But I don't think Dom Bauer has ever been thinking about quitting his job to do YouTube full time or dropping out of school to do YouTube full time. He's never been looking at this as something that pays his rent. This is in a sense a way for him to socialize with other people. It is truly for him, I think, social media. Yeah. It's socializing via the media. That's what's possible. That's what's, Anyway, and I see a lot of people, including Angry Vegan. Here, we can keep this on topic. I think Angry Vegan is a guy who's it's really fucked up his life. It's really had a negative impact on his life. The fantasy that he doesn't need an education, he doesn't need a career, because he can just do YouTube. Yeah. He can just be the next YouTube star. And guys, not everybody can. Not everybody has what it takes. No, not everybody talks a good enough game or has whatever set of talents it takes to have a shot.
Not and everyone gets lucky, right? Even if they have those qualities.
Right. I mean, how can anyone say, to a musician, even if they're a talented musician, oh yeah, your next album is definitely going to be a hit? You can't possibly say that. And with YouTube, there's really no particular identifiable talent. Unlike being a musician, it's not you can say, well, this guy objectively is a talented guitarist, but he's never had a hit record. That's very common. Yeah. If you know musicians. But you can't say, this person is objectively a talented YouTuber, but they've never had a hit video. Well, that's ridiculous. But sure, I know people who are on the grind that way. I like the Phlegm Face, as she calls herself. Yeah. She uses no space. If you're going to search for that YouTube, the Phlegm Face, no spaces between those three. And I think she talks about some interesting stuff on her channel. But what's attainable for her? I think she can get to the same level as Dom Bauer or the same level as Joe Best, where fundamentally people in the scene know her channel. Yeah. But I don't think, why would she ever be able to pay her rent? Why would she be the next Tana Mongeau? That's ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway, time was, I reached out to Joe Best positively again and again and again. And very few of my viewers today will know that, because that goes back to the first few months, I think, of this channel. When this channel was pretty new, I reached out to Joe Best positively. And he didn't really remember every stage. So I don't know what his deal was. He was busy at the time. But, my first videos, I think the first two, addressed to Joe Best and what he had going on in his life, he watched them and he sent me positive comments on them. That's I recall within Facebook. He had a comment on Facebook, oh, this is quite a good video, actually, if you give it a chance, kind of blah, blah, blah. He appreciated this or that. He did not actually perceive my videos about him as hostile or ill intention, and they weren't. They weren't hostile and they weren't ill intention. But I responded to a controversy about his personal life on YouTube, by giving him advice basically about being a foreigner in Thailand. Right now we're foreigners living in China. And, it was advice like, look, you got to think about the difference between socializing with tourists and socializing with people who really live there. You got to think about committing the time to studying the language, speaking Thai if you're in Thailand, speaking Chinese if you're in China, this kind of stuff, There's a lot to think about there. And I gave him some specific advice for how he could kind of raise his status within the vegan movement, because he was in a very precarious, I think he still is, he was in a very precarious position within veganism, partly because he didn't really eat a 100% vegan diet. Mm-hmm. Neither does Don Bauer. Don Bauer calls himself pro-vegan rather than vegan, Mm-hmm. And he had this scandal and he had these other troubles. But that stuff, I was not hating on him. And, I was very open at that time to cooperating with him positively. Now, since then, he's kind of said nasty and mean-spirited things about me and about other friends of mine on YouTube. He's kind of defamed and harangued and tried to get attention with people. I don't really resent that. I don't really care. But it's part of the background noise to this story. But I repeatedly reached out to Joe positively, including when he said a bunch of stuff defaming me about this self-same issue. So I just described people going to the courthouse. When he was saying that I was a scam artist, or there was something unreal or fake about my court case and this stuff. And as with Joe Vegan and a lot of other people, I was saying to him, well, look, do you want to see legal documents? Do you want to talk to me? And he was really crappy stuff too. He was just making up all this speculation about why I was in Chiang Mai anyway, and did I have any right to be in Chiang Mai? And I sent him this long email. I said, look, okay, you asked why I was in Chiang Mai. Here's the answer. It's boring, but this is the true answer. Listed all the reasons I was in Chiang Mai at that time, what I was doing. I said, look, none of this is mysterious. Stop talking about me like it's hard to find me. Stop making up stories about me, where really the point of the stories is to defame me. It's all just kind of vaguely defamatory and crappy. And I reached out to him positively then and again over a period of more than a year. And every single time, the guy was a complete asshole to me. He was a complete asshole publicly on YouTube. He was a complete asshole to me privately. And then, I don't know, let's say better part of a year goes by. Maybe it was only 6 months. And, he had a couple of videos that I respected. Just a couple. He did a couple of videos about nutrition. It was when he finally lost faith in Durian Rider's weight loss advice. It was interesting. That he had this breaking point where he finally stopped believing the stuff Durian Rider said about weight loss. And he made a couple of good videos about weight loss and nutrition where he was also criticizing and attacking what Durian Rider said and what he had himself believed in the past. And it didn't work for him. He never lost weight using that advice. And I watched those videos like, you know what? Even though I've had bad experiences with this guy in the past, with Joe Best, I'm going to reach out to him and say what's up, and let's offer to do a Skype call. Let's do a podcast, let's record a video, let's do something like that. Because I said, you know what, at that time, I think there were just 2 videos on his channel I respected. I said, you know what, I've reached out to people positively when they don't even have 1 video I can respect. This guy just did 2 videos I respected. He seems to have taken a more positive direction lately on his channel. He hasn't defamed me lately, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think also he did delete a couple of the videos against me that were really awful. I think of his own accord. He had some videos against me that were really defaming me, and he actually later deleted those. I kind of noticed that at some point. But he's deleted a lot of his past videos, so I can't even keep straight how much stuff he's had posted and then deleted. But here's what happened. This is the crazy thing. So I get on Skype with this guy, and this guy allegedly has a background in finance, in international finance and the banking system. We're reading, by the way, we've got comments coming in because we're live streaming while we record this video. So yeah, I don't know if we want to interrupt this story to answer any of these particular questions. I mean, none of them really stand out to me. But we get asked, does my girlfriend have her own YouTube channel? And the answer is no, she doesn't. So anyway, we've got a few other questions that I don't think we need to interrupt the video for. You want to take it this on?
No, that's okay. I was just gonna say there's no really obstacle with organizing the Skype call. You just haven't scheduled a Skype call yet with Don Bauer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to get Dom on the show for over a year, right?
Yeah, the emails of last August.
Yeah, August 2016. I might have written him before that, too. I don't know. But yeah, for ages. Because I promoted Dom on my channel. I used clips of him back when he had a smaller number of viewers. And in effect, he promoted me. I mean, not really. But yeah, he used to be a big fan of my channel. He had a bunch of videos about what a fan he was of my channel. So I thought he'd be easy to get on the show, but then turns out he's hard to book. That Dom Bauer. He's always putting in appearances for Vegan Cheetah, but he's been hard to get him on the channel. Anyway, so here's what happened. It was really crazy at the time, and I laughed a lot at the time too. Joe Best gets on Skype with me. He allegedly has this background in finance, in economics, And his whole approach to this Skype call, which he recorded at his end, and he then kind of blackmailed me with afterwards. So he says, okay, this is a private Skype call. We're not going to use this publicly. Oh. And he said he was just going to interrogate me over what he thought was evidence of, like, financial fraud at my end. Yeah. And he's asking me these questions. Some of them are about the lawyer and the court case, where he's like, oh, no, that's an inconsistency. You said this about the lawyer. Now you're saying that about the lawyer. Yeah. It was dumb. I'm really tempted to use the R word. Yeah. It was very learning disabled, this interaction with this guy. It was mind-blowing how stupid what he had to say was. And I asked him at one point in this conversation, but he was also asking me a lot of details about the actual bank transfer. Yeah. Those are really boring details, but I can break down if you're like, yeah, so we did the bank transfer this way, and that didn't work. And then I talked to the bank manager, and then I talked to the website, and then we did the bank transfer another way. But it's boring details. And this guy, you'd think he'd never been to a bank in his life. And he alleges his backstory is he used to work at a high level in American finance in international banking. And I said, look, I'm sorry, Joe, what job did you do at the bank? Were you a gardener? Were you, were you a janitor? Mm-hmm. The only university diploma he's got is in architecture. So he may have, these questions he was asking and his kind of contrived outrage and his claims that I was engaged in, financial, in fraud. He was accusing me of fraud and scam artistry. And it was probably just because he was incapable of understanding these really simple facts I was laying down for him about the lawyer, about how much the lawyer was paid, how the lawyer got paid, how the bank transfer was done. It's also stuff like you don't particularly have a right to ask me, but I'm a very open and forthright person. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there being as open and forthright as possible with somebody. And most of the time he's asking me these questions, which are just mind-blowingly stupid. And it's like, okay, now I'm going to say the same thing to you exactly, but using grade 4 vocabulary. Like, I'm dumbing it down as much as I possibly can for this guy. And he's just too stupid and too vile. And he recorded this, and then he turned around and he appeared on Joe Vegan's channel. So there's two different people called Joe Best and Joe Vegan. And he really defamed me on Joe Vegan's channel. He said that I was very defensive and very evasive and that I wouldn't answer his questions, which is completely a lie. I was answering all of his questions. I was being totally forthright with him. A lot of my questions, he was too stupid to understand the answers. Mm-hmm. And then, as I say, he promised me repeatedly during that Skype call that he wasn't ever going to post this public. This was a private conversation. But he did actually turn around and try to blackmail me with this. Now, that ended when he sent me an apology asking for my help, when in his words, according to him, he received death threats from Durian Ryder, which is very likely. I should put an asterisk on that, because I myself have received what I could call death threats. Durian Ryder was all the time putting up these kind of loosely worded death threats. Durian Ryder stated not too long ago on the internet that if I went to Chiang Mai, I would get stabbed, that somebody would stab me, that somebody would kill me, that a gang of people would beat me up or kill me. He does that quite often, and most people do not take it that seriously. Of course, it's immoral, but, we're not going to give morality lectures to Durian Ryder at this point. It's, So he actually received some kind of threat that scared him. So just a couple of days after he had this horrible Skype call with me, and he did this horrible thing on Joe Vegan's channel, really defaming me at a time when there were people around who actually believed this crap, people who believed the court case was fake. Then he sends me email in which he's suddenly trying to be my best friend and find out about my lawyer, find out what he can do, because he's thinking about having his own legal case against Durian Ryder. He's asking me for advice on all that stuff. So yeah, long story short, my experience with Joe Best is that's a wrap.